Now recognize the gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Mullin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to visit a little bit with Commissioner Staples. You'd made mention with the Fish and Wildlife that the finalized statement, including deadlines for hundreds of decisions regarding the listing and habitat designation. Did they ever consult you or talk with the state before they did this?
Well, I think there's a big difference between actual consulting and then just letting you know that it's going to happen. And the level of participation has clearly not been there in order to lead to the propagation of the species that we think could be done under a process like the State Protective Action Plan that's being proposed by Congressman Mullin.
So they just came in and basically said, hey, we know how to run the land of Texas and take care of the animals there better than those that live there. Is that correct?
It's clearly an adversarial relationship. We've had some success, but it's been a success at a tremendous cost that could be averted and lead to better management of the species. And I would say, Congressman, that there's no better steward of a resource than someone who has a vested financial interest in that item. And clearly, landowners have that and recognize that, and states are ready to lead.
I mean, we have a tremendous amount of pride in Oklahoma, especially in our football program. Had to throw that out there. But you know what I don't understand is how people from Washington can come in and start essentially telling us that, hey, we don't care enough about our land, and so in your knowledge, are you aware of this ever happening before? I mean, in the state history, with the Fish and Wildlife just absolutely refusing to work with the state that just says, hey, we're going to tell you how to do it. We're going to take it from here.
Well, the lesser prairie chicken is a big example of that.
Yes, sir, it is.
Where landowners came together, energy sector, agriculture, and said, look, we have a plan that will work and that the service was very complimentary of, and then chose to list it anyway. We also have examples of the recovery credit system that was initiated by the Texas Department of Agriculture, where we actually work very cooperatively with Fish and Wildlife, with landowners and with groups that many times have an adverse opinion on the way to get things done, but we came together, developed a recovery credit system to help develop habitat for the golden cheek warbler in the central Texas area around Fort Hood. That's been very successful. Our states work together, and Oklahoma does a good job working with Texas and getting our football players. Adrian Peterson was from my hometown, I might add to that, Congressman. We still think about that.
Well, I appreciate you all getting ready. We just finishing them off. So.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the lesser prairie chicken, landowners and the industry came together and put in roughly 7 million acres that they voluntarily took control. They pumped in over $42 million into it from the landowners, private, and the industry. And the last reports, the lesser prairie chicken hatch is up 20% this year. Now, if I remember correctly, Chairman had stated that the success rate so far has been somewhere around 2% with the endangered species. That just goes to show how when states and landowners who care, who live in the area, when they come together and they see a need, how they can plug the hole and have better results.
And the example is that those 5 states do not always agree on issues, but they did come together cooperatively to present a solution that was viable. We know that the analogy of the emergency room and doctor's office has been used by Congressman Mullin and by Professor Fishman. I would submit to you that being in the emergency room for 40 years is not anything you want to claim success over. Right. People die by staying too long there without getting what they need, and we certainly need action here. And these are sensible reforms that can make a difference and bring the brightest minds working together cooperatively.
Well, thank you for bringing a common sense approach, and thank you for Adrian Peterson. We really appreciate him up in Oklahoma, and I know we're all cheering him on now, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield back, sir.